I was gonna do this without crying, but now I'm not gonna do that. For those of you who don't know me in this room, I don't know if there's many of you, but hello. And my name is Victoria Levack. I'm the spokesperson for the Disability Rights Coalition, but today it is my honor and my privilege. See, it's already started. To remember Jen Powley, who was a very strong voice in the disability community, as well as a chairperson for the Ecology Action Center for 13 years. Chair and volunteer with the Rainbow Refugee Project, where she helped people from war-torn countries who were facing discrimination because of their sexuality moved to Canada and Halifax in particular, and made sure they were settled and supported in community. And she was also an author. And for the last 9 months of her life, I got to call her my roommate and my friend. And unfortunately, about a month ago, she passed away due to progressive multiple sclerosis at the age of 45. Jen, for the last 3 years of her life, worked with Maria. 2 weeks into Maria's job, she gave Maria a call and said, "Hey, y'all, I have this project," because with her multiple sclerosis, she was going to be forced to be institutionalized, and she didn't want that. And her parents paid for her care, which was approximately $100,000 a year, to keep her out of the institution. And she said, "Hey, I have this great life. I want to give other people the opportunity to have the same rights as I have and the same privileges I have." So she called Maria up, along with IONS, who now runs my home. Well, I run it. They just do the boring financial stuff. For the last 9 months of her life, I was her roommate. I don't know how she felt about that, but from what I've been told and what she did manage to tell me, she liked having me because I was smart. So if any of you knew Jen, you'll realize that woman was brilliant. So if she called me smart, I must be doing something right. It is very hard without her here. It's a very lonely house right now. It's very hard to not be able to go say good morning anymore. And although I thanked her a million times, I can never thank her enough for the gift that she gave me. And now that it's no longer a pilot, it is now a shared services program that will allow 222 young adults with disabilities who are currently incarcerated in institutions to be moved into community and to hopefully make sure no one like me or her is incarcerated ever again. That is, oh, thank you. Well, aren't you all nice? So, it's funny, when I moved out they said, people told me, "Yay, Vicki, you can retire." Unfortunately, I cannot. So my interior design / media empire will have to wait. But because of Jen's work that she started, I will be. It is my honor and my privilege, I said that a lot today, to make sure that work continues and that other people, that this work which is not done, for there are many things that are still withheld from us as citizens with disabilities, so the work is not done. Jen, for example, was unable to marry her partner of 15 years because her disability supports would have been removed had she gotten married. I don't think this is right. No. So that is my next fight, is to make sure that people can have the same opportunities and everybody else, and we have true marriage equality. Jen taught me what it was like to love unconditionally, to fight for what you believe in, but not be an asshole about it. And I hope that she realizes if she is up there. I don't know what happens after we die. No one does. But I hope that she realizes that I am truly grateful that she gave me a home and gave me my humanity and my life back. And that's it. That's it. Over to you, Cyndi.
Am I on?
Yep.
I asked Vicki if she wanted to go first, and she said, sure. Now I'm thinking I should have gone first. Because how do you follow that? I was asked to say a few words about Steve Estey, who it's been a very emotional day. Anyways, I went to his memorial, and great things were said about him. Everything that could be said about him was said. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Steve as my friend and Steve and his relationship to people first. So I went to school with Steve, high school, Steve and his wife Ann. We didn't know each other, as they were a couple of years ahead of me. I only knew him as Dave's older brother. I was friends with his younger brother, Dave. This is funny now, knowing Steve as the older brother, because he was involved in so many activities and was so well known in high school. Years later, Steve and I laughed about this and shared memories of his brother, whom we had lost several years before. We both recognized you have to keep the ones you love alive by telling their stories. I met Steve when we attended our many committees and projects over the years. Steve was involved in many local, provincial, national, and international committees and groups. I would attend meetings and committees supporting members from People First, and Steve would chat away with everyone. He was always relaxed and willing to listen to our members. He became very familiar with different members over the years. We ran into Steve, Ann, and his sister Jane at the launch of the My Home, My Rights videos at Club Inclusion last February. Yay! And they're all here. His son Estey was in some of the videos, and hamming it up a bit, as I recall. Steve was very proud of him. Our last work with Steve was on a 2-day workshop in August at Dalhousie University on human rights monitoring around the world. Steve and his friend Sheila set that up. Steve came to the pizza party and sat with all of our members. Everyone was excited to talk to him, and I'm sure he only understood half of the stories as Anne was busy translating. But he was patient, kind, and funny, as always. Steve became a familiar figure to our members across the province when he and Dulcie McCollum were interviewed for our People First documentary, Freedom Tour Nova Scotia. We filmed this in 2012 and it was released in 2013. He talked about his and Dulcie's role in helping create the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. I often think back to the comments Steve made in that film. His comments come back to me when I see the light bulbs going off in other people's heads when they get it. I also think Steve's comments about looking at the convention 20 or 30 years down the road is one of vision and hope. I wanted to show the clips, but that was challenging. So, and for anybody that knows me, I'm not a techie person, I taped them on my phone. Yeah. And they actually worked. But then I talked to our wonderful tech folks here today, and they copied them, and they're going to play them for us. But whether they're clear for you to hear or not, I encourage you to go on YouTube and watch the Freedom Tour Nova Scotia.
That's very good.
It's a documentary across the province, and it's self-advocates, families, everybody. And Steve got to finish off the documentary and give those eloquent words that our tech folks are going to do right now. Thank you.
UN Convention was an attempt to look at a whole range of human rights as they relate to people with disabilities. So, you know, in the UN system, there are conventions that look at different groups of people, like there's a Human Rights Convention for women and a Human Rights Convention for children and stuff. So they decided they needed to do the same kind of thing for people with disabilities. The negotiations, Dulcie, you may remember when we were there in New York, talking to all of those diplomats and all of those stuff, they're kind of almost, there were light bulbs going off a lot of times around this stuff. People saying, you know, yeah, of course a person with a disability has the same rights as everybody else, and you say that often enough, and it sounds nice and stuff, but when you start to get into the nuts and bolts of the UN Convention, you say, what does that really mean? And you look at that, what this document does is it really gives you a roadmap on a wide range of things. But I think that for me, the thing that is most important about the convention is this idea of equality, the whole idea that people with disabilities are equal to people without disabilities. And what the convention does is it sets that down on paper and begins to set us on a road so that somewhere down the road we will live in full equality, whether we have disabilities or whether we don't have disabilities. I think that that's what the role of the convention is, and we're just at the very beginning of that. You know, it's been 3-4 years. We're beginning to see some impact, but I think that the real test of the convention will be in 20 or 30 years' time, see where we are as people with disabilities in our society.